Good evening, my fellow friends, my fellow neighbors, and my fellow shining stars. The next trolley stop is here, and the next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series. We have now reached episode number 92, the final trolley stop as part of the 2-year anniversary celebration, the month-long 2-year anniversary celebration of this beautiful program that we've been blessed to share with all of you, our fellow friends and neighbors and shining stars. Thank you very much for spending some time with us wherever you are and wherever you may be. This is a very special edition of the Children's Book Spotlight series on many different levels. So first off, I express my gratitude to all of you, wherever you are and wherever you may be, for joining us here in our neighborhood at Empowered Publicity here this evening and this week. One of the many reasons that this is a very special trolley stop for us, and undoubtedly will be for you, is because we're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to our hearts here at Empowered Publicity, and that is grandmothers. Anytime that we can talk about the connection, the heartfelt bond that we share with our grandmothers, it's always such a good feeling. Grandmothers are truly remarkable women. They're a wonderful combination of warmth and kindness and laughter and love. And so, as we get ready to embark on the upcoming holiday season, one of our favorite neighbors has penned a beautiful love letter to grandmothers everywhere, across the country and around the world, helping us to remember why they are our superheroes. And of course, leave it to a brand new, all-new children's book to put everything in its proper perspective. The brand new release, My Super Grandma, one of my favorite children's books of all time now, by the way. We encourage you to be able to head on over to Amazon.com. We're going to be sharing the link for My Super Grandma in the comments below so that you can purchase your copy for the upcoming holiday season. Joining us all the way several continents on over. There's no restrictions here at the Children's Book Spotlight series.
Yes.
we can't travel to Germany, but we can travel to Germany in our minds and in our hearts. The author of the brand new release, My Super Grandma, he is our featured guest here on the Children's Book Spotlight series this week to close out our 2-year anniversary celebration of our program. Markkizaac Mago joining us here this evening and this week. Mark, we appreciate your free time, and thanks for joining us here in our neighborhood here tonight and this week. We really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, Jonathan. I'm so pumped up right now.
This is
so excited with this interview.
we have both been looking forward to this conversation for a long period of time, because grandmothers not only are near and dear to my heart, but they're also near and dear to your heart. So, anytime that when you have the opportunities to connect with someone on your path and there's a similar synergy and you can just talk about similar things, it's very much a good feeling. For those of our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors who are learning about you and your work, this is your debut children's book. So that's got to be such a good feeling as well, too. Could you share with us a little bit about your journey to creating My Super Grandma, and why is it that you wanted to become a children's author and share this message specifically about grandmothers at this particular point in time?
It's been my childhood dream actually to write a book. It gave me a sense of mission in life, because after I traveled to back in Canada, and I learned so much about my grandma, my super grandma, and I asked myself that maybe I can share the legacy of my grandma and to all grandmas around the world. And yeah, and it was kind of like liberating to write a book. It gave me so much, fun in the process of writing a book also. But yeah, but it also have some challenges. And right now, where I'm here interviewing me, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like amazing. It's kind of like a surreal feeling. Yeah.
Well, everything, Mark. This is one of the reasons why I'm so excited for you, because anytime that we have a vision in our mind's eye, when we have a dream in our heart, we obviously have to kind of move through some fears and some challenges to kind of get through to the other side. One of the things that I'm really grateful for. And by the way, today is World Gratitude Day, by the way. So of course, we're going to be sharing a lot of gratitude here. Mark's going to be sharing his gratitude. I'm going to be sharing, my gratitude. We encourage all of you to share your gratitude with us in the comments below. Feel free to do so. So anytime we have the blessing of being joined by a children's author, children's illustrator, if they feel comfortable in doing so, we ask them to be able to share their challenges and their difficulties and their fears. Because obviously, in order for us to be able to birth and create something special, we have that human experience, right? So we have to kind of go through the discomfort to get through to the comfort. So this book is so beautiful on so many levels. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be diving right into the book momentarily. Could you talk to our audience, if you could, here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series, about some of the things that you experienced that you felt were challenges and difficulties, obstacles and problems that you experienced through the creation of this book, and what helped you to move through that discomfort to get through to the other side?
Well, at first, the idea of writing a book is already a challenge. Like the financial costs, finding an illustrator, and what will the other people will tell to my book, and yeah, I mean, to all for what's the new authors right there, like starting or writing a book, it's a big challenge. And but when I learned about my grandmother and the sacrifice she made, the creative juices just flow naturally. And then, after writing the story, so the next challenge is finding an illustrator. And then one day, I'm scrolling in Instagram, I saw the work of Arwa Salame. She's my illustrator. So shout out to Arwa Salame. She's based in Jordan, actually. So yeah, after seeing her work, just kind of give me a vision. What would I really like my book would turn out to be? And then it's just the universe was aligned on that time. And after a couple of months illustrating and seeing her work, drafting, the biggest challenges also is the formatting and applying or going your book to Amazon. It's just so very tedious way, and just lots of many rejections because of the way the book was formatted. So I contacted some other person in New York to format my book, and then it didn't work at first, and it was almost the time that I gave up with this book. But then I was really determined and determined to pursue and finish this book, because this is the legacy of our grandma. This is my grandma's legacy. This is your grandma's legacy, and it will be the lesson that will be sharing this book, it will have a big impact to all the children around the world. So yeah. And after that, yeah, and you saw my work, and then the rest is history.
The rest is indeed history.
Exactly.
What I'd like to do, Mark, if this is okay with you, is to be able to share some of our experiences with our grandmothers. And I've actually had the honor of sharing my grandmother being part Polish. We would call our grandmothers babcias, right? So the lovely lady dressed in blue is my grandmother, Jane Sajecki. We call her babcia. I like to call this my guardian angel picture, because this was actually taken on, I believe, May 5th of 1990. So, Mark, we're talking over 30 years ago, right?
Oh.
And this was taken after my first Holy Communion. So I've got my grandmother to my right, to my left shoulder, and my grandfather to my right shoulder. And my grandmother passed away in August of 2013. On the surface, it may have looked like it was a very traumatic experience, maybe one of the most traumatic experiences of my entire life. But my grandmother began to speak with me in a little bit of a different way. I actually, over time, began to have a stronger connection with my grandmother in the non-physical, more so than the physical. But I think that many of us, because again, we do have that human experience, Mark, each and every day, right? We're used to seeing people every day, and now we're starting to see people a little bit more. We're kind of starting to move closer together, so to speak, which is also a good feeling. So your grandmother, just as my grandmother inspired me, your grandmother inspired you. Could you share with us a little bit about the unconditional bond of love that you have with your grandmother, and some of the things that she helped to teach you about yourself, to be able to help you realize that you too can achieve your dreams? That this particular book, not only are you fulfilling your life's purpose, but you've got your own grandmother rooting you on in the process, which is great.
Okay, first of all, it's difficult to imagine what life would be like without our grandmas, no? Grandma has decades of practice making of their signature dishes unique to all of us, right? That's why from my first page of my book, like the grandma bake a special cake to Zaya, just like our grandmothers. So my grandma, I remember, she has always have a great stories to tell. Like I remember she told me about back when she was young, about how difficult a life back in the Philippines, back about the Second World War. It was, for me, it was amazing. It's like going back in the past. My grandma was a seamstress also. She worked in a clothing and jeans industry. She did spend a great deal of a time sewing her children's dresses, like just like my aunt told me. And they had a small store in their house, and she managed all the store responsibilities. And yeah, and my grandma and grandpa stayed in Calgary, Canada, for more than 30 years with their daughters and families. During their her stay in Calgary, she often sent packages of foods and clothes before Christmas to her relatives in Davao, and because she saw the hardships of her relatives' lives. Like she never forget what she'd gone through in her younger years. And I remember also me with brother and sister and grandma when she had was vacationing in Philippines. She always went to malls, and she loved going to malls, and we ate to different restaurants. So that was a beautiful time spending with grandma, with my super grandma actually. So yeah, learning about and just like I said before, when I traveled back in Calgary, I learned so much about her life there. Also, that's why it kind of gave me an idea to write this book. And plus the fact that was working in nursing home, because right now I just transferred in a hospital right now. But here in Germany, I spent like 4 years and 5 months in Walhausen, just like a small village in central part of Germany. So taking care of the grandmas there, it was such a nice experience. I treat them also like my grandma and grandpa. Yeah, but such an amazing experience, and I learned a lot from having like being nurse there, and kind of like um, acting like grandkids also from them also. That's why it's like reconnecting to my inner child also. So yeah, and for me, being a grandma is like a celebration of womanhood. So it's kind of because their vast experience, their wisdom, they went through all difficulties in life, and sharing their wisdoms like uh, a great opportunity to to and writing this book. It's like I hope that it will give an impact to the future grandkids and future generations.
You're very much already doing that. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in to episode number 92 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, the final trolley stop of the 2-year anniversary celebration that we have been sharing over these past several weeks. Markkizaac Mago joining us as our featured guest here on the program, the author of the brand new release, My Super Grandma. We encourage all of you, our friends, our neighbors, our shining stars tuning in to be able to head on over to Amazon.com. That's one of the many ways you can support Mark and the wonderful work that he is actually doing and sharing from his heart. Such a beautiful gift for the upcoming holiday season in the process. I do want to talk about some of my favorite illustrations of the book momentarily as well, but just to briefly piggyback upon something that you just touched upon, to kind of further expand upon it, to further elaborate on this, Mark, you have the good fortune of working in a nursing home. And I give you tremendous credit because, obviously anyone who works in the healthcare sector right now, it's a little bit different over the past 6 months than what it was beforehand, obviously, with, restrictions in place and, people have an idea of kind of what's been happening over the past 6 months. But going back to my childhood, I remember some of the fondest memories that I have. My great aunt, my Aunt Bernice, was actually in a nursing home when I was probably a younger child. I might have been maybe 10, 11 years old. But when we would go to the nursing home, they would play bingo. That was one of the big things is that, everyone in the residence would come together in their meeting room. They'd play bingo. They would eat together. And it seemed like this amazing communal experience, right? Could you expand upon some of the things? I know that you touched upon the fact that, like, in some ways you feel like you're a spiritual grandson to the grandmothers that are there. What has that been like for you? The experience of working in a nursing home, how did that help you to bring this message to life and share grandmothers in an even more authentic, aligned, and heartfelt way?
Oh, before I answer the question, my grandma also loved playing mahjong and playing cards. So to answer the question, like the connection, you mean the because like grandmothers, they did a great job raising our parents and starting and supporting the positive legacy that our family has. They are the original source of the blessings that keep being passed down on each generation. And I'm very thankful and grateful for our grandmas, that they provide the stability, the support, and wisdom, kindness, and the indescribable love that they did for us all. And that's why it inspires me to write this book. They share ups and downs, highs and lows, and like I said, they are really also a great family historian. Like they tell about how our parents when they were young, and it's like learning about our past also. It's also a nice way, or it's a catalyst to learn something about ourselves too. It's like part of knowing ourselves, and how it's also they're also best teacher, because with all the kinds of past experience and have amassed many skills over the years, they just really really nice teacher, because they tell their stories from their experience, and it's very authentic, right? And what next is like playmate. They are great playmates, right? Because most of the time our parents may be, tired, worn out with childcare, or burdened with responsibilities to just, play. And our grandparents, or our super grandmas, are a great substitute, often take time to play games and engage in imaginative play with with their grandkids. That's why in my book, like they spent a lot of time spontaneously going to zoo, and yeah, and I just add some action stuff, because it's it's the trending right now. It's trending. That's why. And also a safe haven. I mean, if I can't talk with my parents, the safe way, or the safe choice, is talking to your grandparents or your grandma, because they're non-judgmental. Like I said, they have a vast experience and always have something wise to say. And okay, and supporter. There are great supporters financially and in some other ways. Like I remember my mother asked some financial um, help to my grandmother, and right away, no questions, he just sent the money. And yeah, and role model. They are really a great role model to all of us. Like I've mentioned before, the hard times they've experienced, the difficult people they've experienced, the awkward relationship, and yeah, everything. It's they're like the talking Wikipedia. I don't know, but for experience, so to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
grandmothers, one of the things that's for sure, Marcus, is that grandmothers were around. They've been around longer than Wikipedia, longer than the internet, so to speak. And as you touched upon, that they have provided us and continue to provide for us so much wisdom and love and compassion and knowledge. I know that one of the things about, people have asked me for years about, why do you have such a strong connection with your grandmother? Because I know that, we were very close until like around the time when I graduated high school. We were really close for like a good number of years. And then there was like, it was a little bit of a kind of like an external rift where, sometimes you grow up, you don't necessarily spend as much time with your immediate family, your external family, that sort of thing. I go back, and this is like, with obviously, heading out to San Diego in a few weeks time, it's like I'm looking back on the chapter of my life here in Buffalo. And, some of my fondest memories were times where I would go to my grandmother's house,
Mhm.
and I might not necessarily have talked to her for a couple of days or a week. In fact, I actually remember the last time that I saw my grandmother. I might even get a little emotional talking about this, so bear with me, Mark. I hadn't seen her for for some time. And I needed to be able to borrow her garage so that I could steam clean my car.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me, "How are you doing?" She made me a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
She allowed me to use, my grandmother's and grandfather's garage. Like I was able to park my car, steam clean my car.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just genuine, unconditional love and acceptance. And I feel that if we're lucky in life, we can have a few of those experiences. Not necessarily everyone in our life will give us genuine love and genuine acceptance. Sometimes even people that you hope would give you general love or, genuine love and genuine acceptance, for whatever reason, they're not able to do so. And so this is just one of the many reasons you touched upon so many, like, why are grandmothers our superheroes? And we could probably just spend the next, half hour just continuing to talk about, well, because of the cooking and because of the wisdom and because of the genuine unconditional love, like
Pretty relatable. Yes.
Yeah, grandmothers I'll actually talk about the bond between grandchild and grandmother momentarily. I want to talk about the book as well, because we've been talking so much about grandmothers. Got to make sure, of course, that we're talking about Mark's brand new book as well, too, My Super Grandma. It is now available at Amazon.com. We've got the link below in the comments so that you can purchase your copy, whether it be for the inner child in you, whether it be for your little one, for your grandchild, maybe if you're a teacher or a librarian or the principal of a school and you want to be able to purchase a great new heartfelt, heart-centered children's book for your students for the back-to-school season. My Super Grandma checks all those boxes, so to speak. So the main character in the book is a little girl by the name of Zaya.
Yeah.
And she has this really close relationship with her grandmother. But her grandmother is not just any ordinary salt of the earth typical grandmother. When we think of superheroes, we think of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and, Aquaman. There's different, superheroes, right? So to not necessarily give away everything in the book, could you walk us through the journey and the experience that Zaya has with her grandmother and how she comes to realize that her grandmother is a superhero?
Okay. So the grandma and Zaya, like they have a really close bond together. And Zaya know that like her grandma loves to sew clothes, loves to plant gardens or vegetables, and gives to charities. But one thing Zaya didn't know, that her grandmother is a super grandma. Like, she was really curious about what's happening, because she didn't know that her grandma has a secret. And yeah, after that, there's an action going on. And then the most important part is, like, they went to the zoo and the grandma gives an important lesson to Zaya about life, about womanhood. And I think it's really needed, or essential, or very in time right now, because of like a lot of people are experiencing depression and mental health issues like that. But the grandma, the super grandma, the book is like, it's all part of life, and we should move on, and failures are just that spices things, our life, and that's it. It's part of, yeah, like I said, it's part of life. I don't want to spoil the whole book, but yeah.
Some of the first illustrations in the book, I actually want to share this with our listeners and viewers, if I could, Mark. just to share this first passage and then the illustrations. Whenever I visit my grandma at her house, she always asks me first if I had already eaten.
Yeah.
Isaiah, have you eaten already? I baked your favorite dessert, caramel apple pie cake with extra cream on top, which, by the way, sounds absolutely delicious. So just, you can see the joy that Zaya has on her face, knowing that, not only is her body going to be fed, but her mind, her heart, and her soul are being fed through this experience of this bond of unconditional love with her grandmother. And I'm not sure if the snack Pringles are big here in the United States. Mm-hmm. They're like, the little guilty pleasure potato crisp kind of thing, right? So when I would actually go over to my grandmother's house, that was the go-to. When I knew that there were sour cream and onion Pringles there. So I just it just kind of took me back to how, Zaya gets her favorite dessert, which is the caramel apple pie cake with extra cream on top. Mm-hmm. And how it kind of, brought me back, so to speak, with the whole sour cream and onion and Pringles. The illustrations, this is where, when an author writes their first children's book, as you touched upon, there might be some fears and some doubts and some challenges. You want to make sure that you have the right illustrator.
Yeah.
This is basically like your vision, and you're entrusting it with someone who can capture the essence of that. And again, your illustrator, Arwa, last name is pronounced Salome.
Yeah, Salome.
Did a tremendous job. We always have a healthy number of children's authors and children's illustrators, whether it be some of the rising, shining stars in the kidlit community, some of the top award-winning and best-selling children's authors, and even some aspiring children's authors. Could you expand upon what the process was like of bringing these illustrations in and ensuring that everything really felt super vibrant, so to speak? The fact that you and Ara were able to connect and create this love letter. This is something that it was just like destiny that unfolded for the both of you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right from the start, like seeing Arwa's work, I fell in love. Like, oh man, this like my vision. Like this is the perfect illustration for my book. And then I messaged her right away, immediately, and then luckily she's available at that time, and working with her is so much fun. She's very approachable, and whenever I have suggestion that, hey, I want this setting, this drawing, this baby llama or something like that, this shape of baby unicorn or something like that, she's very flexible. And yeah, I mean, thumbs up for my illustrator. I'm so happy with the result with my book, and it really symbolizes the fact that the color, the theme, and it's perfect. I can't complain. Yeah,
everything turned out so
exactly
so
in the right pieces.
Yeah, and this is why, leading into our conversation tonight, we were talking about how, this is something that you have wanted to do for such a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And one of the best feelings that we can have is when we see how everything always works itself out.
Exactly.
And, a lot of the times, especially as adults, right, we might stress ourselves out. How is this going to work itself out? Is it going to turn out okay? Are the finances going to come through?
That's the problem.
Am I going to be able to devote the time to this? Just is it going to turn out right? And I've had the pleasure, as I mentioned, for the past 2 years, actually 2 years ago yesterday, September the 20th, we had our first children's book Spotlight Series interview. And I've had the blessing and the honor of helping and supporting and working with children's authors over the past 6 years in Empowered Publicity. And this is one of my favorite children's books. And I'm I'm not just saying this because we're talking right now, and this is the next interview, the latest interview. Children's books are meant to be fun and playful and engaging and really help to connect us to our heart. And if our heart is, and if we're already connected to our heart, to open our heart up even further. That's going to be
sharing the lesson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to want to expand upon a little bit more in our conversation. But I very much wanted to talk about something that I felt is very important, especially right now amid the current climate. We had talked about, our experiences growing up with our grandmothers, and those are treasured memories that we will forever keep in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel that the connection between grandchild and grandmother, between grandchildren and grandmothers, why do you feel that connection is so important amid the current climate now, maybe more than what it was before the spring?
Oh, that's a nice question, Jonathan. The connection is really important. The grandkids is like the middleman between the grandmothers and the parents, and plus the fact that they help nurture the growth of the kids, and sharing the wisdom and bonding with our grandmas. It's like it will stick to our memories until our maturehood, or until we went to adult, and we will always remember that. And it will be the one of the biggest impact. And you will also tell that to your like when I'm single and I don't have a child, but I kind of seeing the fundamental ingredients of having a great connection with our grandparents, especially for our grandmas, because like I said, they're like family historian. Like you can ask whatever our parents, like their experience to when they are younger, right? So I think that's it. Learning, like I said before, learning about our past is a catalyst to learn something about ourselves too, and that's a big important aspect in our life.
I agree. And to be able to briefly add on to what you were just talking about, Mark, is I feel that, the one of the things that this time frame, this past 6 months has taught us is that life is very precious.
Mm-hmm.
Life is very precious. And
exactly.
We're here for an instant, and then it seems like we're gone, right? You can blink your eye and it seems like, I go back to those childhood memories when I was 9 and 10 years old, and that's 30 years ago. Right. And it just like, it seems like it only happened yesterday. And I feel I might even get a little emotional talking about this again as well. A lot of emotion moving through here tonight, Mark, and this week, is that to cherish the memories that you have with your grandmother. And, let's say, for example, we're not excluding grandfathers in the mix as well, too. Maybe this is an idea for a sequel. We'll talk about possibly My Super Grandpa. That would be a great companion piece, I might add, by the way, right? But, especially for all of our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, our shining stars who are tuning into the program this week, if they have a little one that is, that enjoys spending time with their grandmother or their grandfather, to really be able to cherish those times. And I know that one of the things that that we've seen, around the world, is that, because of the restrictions that were in place, grandmothers have maybe not necessarily been able to spend as much time face to face with their grandchildren. And you do,
exactly.
you do Zoom parties and Zoom calls and Skype visits, and that's not the same. That's not the same. I know that that's kind of what,
It's a big difference.
what was needed, so to speak. So, we're putting out the intention that whatever restrictions are in place lift, so that if anything, the bond between grandchild and grandmother, grandchild and grandfather, that those connections become even stronger in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
Like when I was working in nursing home during the peak of COVID, the corona, the visitors are not allowed, and that it breaks my heart, but it's for their own good also, because they're very vulnerable for the disease. But it's kind of sad, but we went finding ways just to cheer them up, and because having or not seeing their grandkids is like torture for them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And this is, again, one of the reasons why I believe that sooner versus later, we're very much going to be on the other end of this, which is, I think, a perfect way to be able to share my next question is that, okay, let's say if there's, some moms and dads that are tuning in to the interview, to our conversation here tonight. In this.
Speaking of that, can I shout out to my aunties, because they're actually watching our interviews.
Absolutely.
From Canada, like Auntie Belle and Auntie Sandra. Hello, shout out.
To all of Mark's family who are actually enjoying our conversation tonight. We appreciate you sharing the interview, spreading the love in the process. I feel that you're the perfect person to ask this question, Mark. What are, with still kind of, what people are moving through and how things are shifting over the course, of these next several weeks and months. We've just entered the fall. For those who are watching and enjoying this interview live and when it's happening, or relatively close to September 21st, we are very much now entering into the fall here in the United States and in certain other parts of the world. What are some engaging activities that little ones can enjoy with their grandmothers during this autumnal season, during the fall season? What are some things that come to mind when it comes to engaging activities for little ones and their grandmothers?
The first thing that came to my mind is like maybe knitting, because it's kind of cold now. So I think that would be a perfect time for a bond, to learn to knit with their grandmas. And also having board games, also puzzles, bingos. That would be great. And
Bingo.
genau. Kind of like speaking with German right now. So and like doing some journals together. Yeah, like documenting and having some, selfies with grandmas, and I think that would be a great idea for parents right now. And maybe, for the parents, that they can, also write books about their grandmas, like that.
I think that's a very, it's an experience that can very much help them to open up their hearts. One of the other things that actually came to mind, being an old soul on mine, I think sometimes I'll listen to music that was a little bit before my time. So one of my favorite songs, Mark, is by the musical legend John Denver, and he wrote a song called "Falling Leaves," and I get talking about this. So depending upon where you live, like if you're in the Northeast, like I still am for the time being, this is the time where the leaves begin to fall from the trees, and you get that cool autumn breeze, that autumn crisp that's in the air. So to maybe go for a nice nature walk and just to take a look at the leaves that are coming down, or even, one of the things I've been spending a lot more time, Mark, looking at the sky, and there's beautiful stars in the sky. So whether it be to, watch the stars in the sky, the little ones, I'm getting this beautiful visual of children watching the stars in the sky with their grandmothers. And maybe if you like sunrises or sunsets.
Yeah, exactly. That will be perfect. Mm.
This is a question that I wanted to ask you for our entire interview. And this is the perfect time to be able to share it, because we talked about how our little ones are spending time with their grandmothers this fall, enjoying the falling leaves, the nature walks, the knitting, all of those sorts of engaging and interactive activities. But there are little ones that are wanting to spend time with their grandmothers, but maybe they're not able to because their grandmother has passed on, has transitioned. They're no longer here in the physical. And I feel that, the holiday season can also bring up some emotions and some feelings. Let's say if there's people out there that are tuning in, that are watching the Children's Book Spotlight series here this week, and they say, Mark, Jonathan, this is the 10-year anniversary of my grandmother's passing. So maybe it's not necessarily for the little ones. Us as adults, we have that little inner child that still is within us, the little inner Jonathan, the little, inner Mark, so to speak. So for those grandmothers who are no longer with us physically, how do you feel and how do you believe that we can heal during the holidays by honoring the memory of our grandmothers, both for our little ones and for adults alike?
Recently, I just made a book for our family, and it is dedicated to my grandmother. I made a family book, so to speak. I asked my aunties, what is my grandma's in her younger years like, and I just collect all of the photos from her younger to her older years, and I think it's a great way to learning also to your with your grandma, and having those book, it will be and writing a description also, and collecting some fun pictures also. That I think that will be a great idea, and it will also relive the life of our angel grandmas, like that. And that will be a touching piece of book that will carry on for the past or for the next generation. Yeah.
And I also believe to touch upon and to add upon what you said so beautifully from your heart, Mark, is that simple things such as taking the time to remember the great memories.
Yeah.
Those can never be extinguished.
Yeah.
Those can never be taken away from us in the process. To be able to maybe do some rituals. Some people will call them rituals, I guess, but for example, let's say if, growing up, your grandmother took you to midnight mass. If you were Catholic, for example, right?
Yeah.
You could continue that tradition. I know that one of the things that I always do every holiday, again, being part Polish, my grandmother would make pierogies, which of course, the delicious Polish food. There's the potato pierogies, the sauerkraut pierogies, the cheese pierogies. So every year for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, I always make pierogies. And it brings back the memories of my grandmother. So again, even though this is what'll be either the 8th or the 9th, holiday season without my grandmother here being physically with me, I know that her love kind of feels like a blanket. It almost kind of feels like a superhero cape.
Yeah.
Almost.
That's why it's called Super Grandma.
I also want to ask you about this as well in our closing moments together, Mark, is that I can say this firsthand. I experienced so much healing as the result of reading your book.
Thank you.
And I can just imagine the countless numbers of children that you will be healing on a deep level just by reading this children's book. Now, some people might be watching and say, Jonathan, what are you talking about? Children's books are healing, right? I think that many of us have this misconception that it's the medication that heals us, or it's the meditation that heals us. And again, there's different modalities of healing, but I've seen over the past several years in my work at Empowered Publicity, just loving children's books, how healing children's books can be. Why do you feel that children's books are healing? And how do you believe that they're actually helping children to heal right now amidst everything that's going on?
That's a nice question, Jonathan. Healing in a sense, like whenever they read children books, they learn definitely the moral lessons, and it could also spark imagination to the children's mind, and that would give them an idea, like maybe someday I can be also like a super grandma, like I can also help my communities, or I can also fight bad guys or stuff like that. And I think because whenever they learn something in a children book, I think my goal is met. And yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal, is sharing your ideas and making a difference in each of every kid's minds. And yeah, that's it.
I'm curious to learn, Mark, because you're very much teaching a lot of us many amazing things this week here on the Children's Book Spotlight series. I feel that whenever we create something, whenever we bring something into the world, it teaches us
Yeah.
different levels. What did writing My Super Grandma, the whole process of putting this book together, what did your book teach you about yourself? And what did it teach you about life?
First is it reconnects to my inner childhood. Like I have to, remember, what was the fondest memories of my grandma? What was the lesson she shared to me? Like being generous, being the humility of, acting to people and helping to people, and that my perspective was, is really changed. That was really the big shift, is a necessity for me to be able to, speak to you right in the moment. Like it gave me, like I said in the first interview, a sense of mission. It gave me a great purpose in life. And yeah, and just keep improving myself every day, and yeah, developing yourself every day, and um, learning what my grandma was being able to overcome the challenges in life is really inspiring. So if she can do it, I can do it too.
It's so inspiring, Mark. It
Thank
really
you.
is. We've shared so much inspiration, and this is why
Mhm.
I'm also very excited, because you have given so much to the children in Germany, around the world, to your own family, to the senior citizens that you watch over at your nursing home. One of my favorite segments over these past
Thank you.
what seems like 10 lifetimes
I'm
here on
very
the
grateful.
Spotlight series is the little segment that we like to call Three Wishes. So, Mark, you are being given three wishes here
Oh,
this evening and this week. So, I always like to say, be careful what you wish for now, because there's a good chance that you're actually going to get it. So, these wishes, they can be for yourself, they can be for your family, they can be for the seniors that you watch over, they can be for the planet. You're being given three wishes, Mark, as the result of all of the amazing and wonderful work that you have been doing for children, parents, and families. What would those three wishes be?
my first wish is good health to all of my family relatives, my friends, my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, and especially my mom. Yeah. Second is I will be able to handle the next challenges in life. So the energy and the motivation, yeah, that will be my second wish. And third is I hope this pandemic will be over. Yeah,
I feel
because
I
mhm,
feel that I feel that in a certain way, a certain light, we're already on the other end of this, Mark. It feels like there's just been this amazing, heartfelt connection that we have shared tonight, that we have shared with our listeners and
mhm,
viewers, our friends and neighbors all across the country and all around the world. For a large part of our time here at Empowered Publicity, we like to give a little tip of the cap to our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers, of course, the beloved host of the long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmy shortly before he passed away, and he did this in commencement speeches, even during other events that he actually shared, other talks that he had. He encouraged all of us, and he always kept the time. He encouraged us to take the time to remember those who helped love us into being. Now, you shared, I can tell the heartfelt bond that you share with your family in our past conversations, in our conversation that we've had here tonight. Who are some of the people, besides the ones who you had mentioned before, and who are some of the people that you would like to publicly recognize tonight? Some of the people that helped love you into being. Maybe if there was a little bit of a challenging chapter that you had in your life, and there was, let's say, a friend that happened to come across and say, hey, everything is going to be okay. Sometimes those people, those earth angels, so to speak, make a world of difference. And in a certain respect, they may even save our life, or at least get us back on the right track. So who are some of the people that have helped love you, Markkizaac Mago, into being?
there's a lot of people who helped me encourage this book. My cousin, Auntie Eileen, my aunties, Auntie Irma, Auntie Belle, Auntie Sandra, Auntie Ida, my dad is now his now I think in Saudi. I think I don't know if he's watching. My mother, my friends here in Germany, like Jennifer. Shout out to Jennifer Pingad. She's watching now. Jed, Marlon, um my friends here in Batos. So yeah, a lot of people who are very uh, who encouraged me and who supported me to promote this book. Like there's a lot to mention, but yeah, I mean, I got a really good relationship with them, and I'm very grateful. And also to my brother and sister, and my sister's wife, Kay, my cousins there in US, in California, and yeah, so much people who, inspires me and, really um, motivates me to, promote, and they're very proud of me,
That's
to me,
awesome.
and yeah, everything.
They all help love you into being.
And my work co-workers in Valhouse in nursing home,
Oh,
in yeah, Yvonne, Manuela, Juliana, Nico, Karsten, Polko, who else? Anya, yeah, yeah, Christina, yeah, and Renata, Kirsten, a lot of people who helped me. Yeah.
well, Mark is helping all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors here at Empowered Publicity in the Children's Book Spotlight series as the calendar turns to fall, or the opposite if you're living on the other side of the world. And I think then it would be turning into spring, if I'm not mistaken, right? No matter what chapter, what season of your life you are heading into, to take the time to enjoy the sunrises, the sunsets, the stars in the sky, but to take the time to remember those that helped love you into being. I know, again, just looking back on these final days here in the Buffalo and Western New York area, there are countless people that have helped me, not only here in Buffalo, but many of you who have tuned in. Just your support of Empowered Publicity and the Children's Book Spotlight series alone over these past 2 years has meant an incredible amount to me. And, before we conclude our time here together tonight, because
Jonathan,
yes.
can I thank also my landlords also in Valhausen, the Ziberski family, the Ingo, Lars, and Horace and Maria, and also my friends back in the Philippines. They also helped me encourage this. And in the Philippines, in Canada, in Japan, all over the world, thank you guys.
Yeah. Mark has had a lot of people that have helped love him,
Yeah.
just like I've been very blessed to in the process. We're going to be taking a little bit of and I really don't even want to call it a hiatus. Empowered Publicity, myself, we're headed out to San Diego, California in a couple of weeks. And this is very exciting to be able to embark not only on the next chapter of my life, but to be able to open up the minds and the hearts, to nurture the minds and hearts and souls of our little ones, our little neighbors in San Diego, is very much a huge part of my life's purpose. And I'm so excited to get out to San Diego. So when you next join us for our next edition of the Children's Book Spotlight series and the story time with Mr. Jonathan, the surroundings may look a little bit different than where we're at as of right now, but we are so overjoyed to now begin the third year of the Children's Book Spotlight series, to continue into our 7th year of PR from the Heart and being of service to some of the rising stars in the kid lit community, and also to some of the truly gifted inspirational and spiritual authors that are out there. So if you are new to our neighborhood, if you are one of our new neighbors and you want to be able to catch up on some of the past episodes of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight series, or you would like to be able to learn a little bit more, enjoy some of our story time with Mr. Jonathan episodes that we have been doing over the course of these past several months since the beginning of the springtime, you can head on over to our official website at empoweredpublicity.com. You can stay connected with us on Facebook and Instagram at Empowered Publicity, and on Twitter at Empowered_PR. We very much encourage all of you, if you have tuned in and you enjoy what you have been seeing, you've loved this conversation that we've had here tonight and this week, to be able to subscribe to Empowered Publicity's YouTube channel. As beginning the week of October the 19th, actually, all new episodes of the Story Time with Mr. Jonathan will be featured on Empowered Publicity's YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/ Empowered Publicity. So we just encourage all of you to stay connected with us on social media, because there are so many exciting announcements that will be coming over the course of the next several weeks ahead, as we are now preparing for the forthcoming holiday season. So you're going to be hearing and seeing some truly amazing children's authors share their inspiring stories and the release of their brand new children's books to help bring children and parents and families closer together for the forthcoming holiday season. So with that being said, if you are a children's author, if you are a children's illustrator, and you would like to share your inspiring story and the release of your brand new children's book here on the Children's Book Spotlight series as part of our holiday season, you know how to connect with us now at empoweredpublicity.com. If you are a children's author or children's illustrator and you would like for us to share your brand new children's book as part of the Empowered Publicity Storytime with Mr. Jonathan, leading into and during the forthcoming holiday season, you know how to connect with us at empoweredpublicity.com or any of our social media platforms. If you are a children's author or an inspirational or spiritual author and you would like to learn more about how we can be of service to you here at Empowered Publicity as we continue on with opening up our hearts and offering PR from the heart to all of you, if you would like to facilitate your own book and media tour in a city of your choosing, if you would like to be able to facilitate your own virtual media tour to share your brand new book, if you would like to learn more information about our media coaching and mentoring program, you can schedule your courtesy discovery call by logging on to empoweredpublicity.com and see how we can be of service to all of you. I am, again, so grateful as we conclude this World Gratitude Day, this International Day of Peace. Again, the joy that I have in my heart is palpable right now. It is such a good feeling, in the words of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers, to be able to share some of the most beautiful messages, some of the most heartfelt children's books, such as Mark's. So for all of your support, especially for the past 2 years here at the Children's Book Spotlight series, don't worry, we're not going anywhere and anytime soon. This isn't like an epitaph in any way, shape, or form. We still have work to be able to do, but I just wanted to take the time tonight as part of this final broadcast here in the Buffalo and Western New York area from our bases here at Empowered Publicity to express all of my gratitude, all of my appreciation to all of you. Because I'm sure that, Mark and I could spend the next hour talking about who we're grateful for and who helped love us into being.
Oh, yes.
Just know that there are so many people that I've been expressing my gratitude for over these past several weeks. And whether you have made a small impact or a tremendously large impact on my life and what we've been able to do for the past 6 years at Empowered Publicity, know that if it were not for you, there would be no me. There would be no Empowered Publicity. But again, we are just getting started. So we encourage all of you, once again, to purchase your copy of My Super Grandma. I know that I'm bringing this with me out to San Diego.
Thank you.
We encourage you as well to be able to head on over to Amazon.com when you purchase your copy of My Super Grandma to leave a 5-star review, because that's, again, one of the many ways that you can support Mark and the wonderful work that he's doing. No doubt there's going to be forthcoming children's books that will be coming out. And indeed, if there's a book too, Mark, we would love to be able to have you back aboard the program in 2021.
Oh, yes. Shout out to my friends in Göttingen also. I'll get lots of friends.
Our favorite name.
Thank you, Jonathan. I had a great time with this interview, and you're right. It's so much fun, and I hope exactly.
It is a bright future for not only you and I, Mark, but it's a bright future for all of you, our fellow friends and neighbors and shining stars in the process. So as we conclude the 2-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series, as we put the bow on the Buffalo chapter, so to speak, our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers, reminds all of you, as he did many years on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he is still doing this very much from the other side. He is reminding all of you that you are perfect, you are whole, you are healthy, you are complete, that you are loved, you are special, just the way that you are. That I like you just the way that you are. 143, my friends and neighbors, means that I love you. 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. But of course, since Mark was very gracious at this time to join us here to conclude the 2-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series, 243. That means that we love you. 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. So time to hop back aboard the trolley. We will be returning back live with all new episodes of the Children's Book Spotlight series beginning Monday, October the 19th, 7 o'clock Eastern, but we'll be using 4 o'clock Pacific because we'll be in Pacific time. If this message has inspired you, if it's brought healing into your heart, if you feel that it needs to be shared with someone in need, we encourage you to share episode number 92 of the Children's Book Spotlight series on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever your favorite social media platform of choice is. And lastly, one of our favorite neighbors in Chicago, Illinois, Crystal Leon, the founder and the operator of one of the largest children's book blogs in the country, A Sailor's Wife. She is encouraging us, we're encouraging you to be able to make a difference in the lives of the patients at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago by supporting our special holiday fundraiser. Every dollar counts when it comes to the health and happiness of our children. All donations, they're tax deductible and will be acknowledged by the Lurie Circle of Friends. So again, on behalf of the patients, the families at Lurie Children's Hospital, A Sailor's Wife, and Empowered Publicity, we thank you for opening up your hearts to our little neighbors in need in Chicago. We're already almost at our goal, almost $2,500 we have raised for the little ones, for the children in Chicago. So thank you for all of your generous support. And above all else, thank you for what it is that you are doing for the children of the world right now, for helping to nurture and nourish their minds, their hearts, and their souls. And thank you for helping to walk home the children of the world. So we will see all of you, our friends, our neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars. We'll connect with all of you as the next trolley stop will be out in San Diego, California. So until the next chapter begins, enjoy the coming weeks ahead, and we'll talk to all of you once again very soon. Thank you for spending some time with us here in our neighborhood here tonight and helping us to share the message of why grandmothers are our superheroes. Thank you for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight series, Empowered Publicity, and for helping to walk home the children of the world.
Thank you.